Hi, Andrew from Sachs, and welcome to video number 3 in our 7-video series on teamwork. In the previous video, we talked about what a team is from a psychological point of view, and in this one, we'll be talking about the neurology of teamwork, what goes on between the ears when people are part of a team. So I want to start out with the neurological event of shared purpose. What do we mean by shared purpose? Shared purpose is when it dawns on us that I am part of a team who cares about the stuff that I care about and is seeking to achieve stuff that I want to achieve. Now, shared purpose is sometimes spoken about as a kind of a nice to have thing, but as it turns out, it's a very significant neurological event. Now, what do I mean by a neurological event? It has a number of neurological characteristics to it that are different from other events. One of the things that happens is if we perceive ourselves to have a shared challenge, that heightens oxytocin and other cohesion chemicals in the brain. So oxytocin is a chemical that's at the core of a thing called the tend and befriend response. The tend and befriend response is we are challenged by something, and so we seek to overcome that through cohesion. We buddy up with people, we show them that we like them, we want them to like us, we are very supportive to each other. Oxytocin is a powerful driver of those kinds of things. Now, that's in a sense the opposite of the fight and flight response. The tend and befriend response is all about collaboration to get over a challenge. The fight and flight response is much more about self-protection, running away from something or fighting it. When we have the oxytocin effect happening, that helps to build trust, and it turns on the positive part of the limbic system. Now, the limbic system is the part of the human neurology that's to do with emotions, and it kind of falls into a range of categories. You have positive emotions, and I'm just about to talk about old brain and new brain, but the new brain positive emotions are emotions like optimism, emotions like collaboration, emotions like a sense of belonging. The old brain emotions are things like anger, fear, and depression, which are associated with the fight, flight, and freeze response. And so if we're able to collaborate more effectively, what it tends to do is to sponsor these positive optimistic emotions, and it makes us far more likely to be able to overcome our challenges through cohesion rather than through fighting them or running away from them. And this tends to sponsor creativity, lateral thinking, cooperation, and a preparedness to do difficult things. As a team, we're much more prepared to do something that we otherwise wouldn't contemplate individually. Let's say there's something dangerous or something that's perceived to be risky or embarrassing or challenging. Sometimes as a team, we are much more prepared to do that. We've also seen, by the way, over the years where people depersonalize themselves, put a mask on or something like that. That seems to reinforce that deindividuation kind of an effect. We will do stuff that we would never do by ourselves because we're part of a team and we've lost our individual identity. So this is a really, really powerful effect. And finally, when we do all of this, it releases reward chemicals such as dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that regulates our experience of satisfaction. So if you play computer games, you are working with a dopamine dispenser, because as we get through a level, and you'll see that if you're playing a level-based computer game, there's always something that says, hey, congratulations, or well done, or gives you a graphic of somebody applauding or something like that. That's all to release dopamine and to cause you to feel good about progress. Now, our brains will lead us to dopamine experiences, and that's why many people are very, very happy to be part of teams and look forward to it. This diagram is from the Human Connectome project, which was a project to explore the neural pathways of the human brain and to, in effect, map them. If you look at this diagram, there's a kind of an inner part of the brain, and we'll call that the old brain, and there's an outer part of the brain, we'll call that the new brain. We know that the old brain of the human being is quite close to the old brain of certain of the primates, whereas the new brain is much more elaborated than any animal. That's why we're smarter than even the smartest of primates, and we can speak and communicate with symbols like writing and those kinds of things which no animal can do. Now, one of the things that we know is that every human being is equipped with these things called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons cause us to mirror the emotions of other people. And so if we're working in a group of people, in a team where we have similar emotions to other people, we like the same things they do, we dislike the same things they do, that gives a really powerful sense of cohesion, but it also tends to result in uniformity of behaviors. In other words, our behaviors tend to mirror the behaviors of other people. That's a very important part of teamwork, isn't it? So we see in elite sport how people have, yes, they welcome diversity, but they also want people to be predictable to their colleagues. So if you're in a defense in any kind of sport, you really need your colleagues to know what you're going to do next in order to be able to coordinate with you. So whilst there needs to be creativity, there also needs to be a shared understanding and a shared acceptance of behaviours. When a person is a part of a team, what they will do is that they will monitor the behaviours of people around them to identify the people who are supportive and kind and warm within that team environment versus the people who are kind of threats within that team environment. Because no matter what team, typically there are challenges of politics, challenges of cohesion versus disagreement, and it seems that what happens is that people will respond to those challenges by either piling on the cohesion and becoming a more cohesive and a more committed part of the team, or by doubting it and then starting to separate and to in effect withdraw within themselves and become less team-like. So when people are in a team which is troubled, people aren't getting along with each other, people are squabbling, that actually reduces the capability of the team and the capability of the individuals within that team to solve problems, almost as though they'd given away some IQ points. Isn't that remarkable? It just shows how disagreement within a team can be a real negative. Now, earlier on in this video sequence, I showed you the behaviours of effective teams, and that sort of management of dysfunctionality is a really, really important part of a highly effective team. It should be there in order for that team to continue to prosper and thrive. So this is like a forked pathway. Every person decides, usually unconsciously, whether they collaborate, whether they embark on teamwork, whether they buy in, whether they undertake new brain behaviour, which is all about problem solving and all about creativity, or if they perceive that there's a negative environment where they are being doubted and questioned and made to feel that they're maybe not the same worth, then that will lead to competition, separation, maybe even hostility, old brain behaviour. So the new brain behaviour is collaborative, the old brain behaviour tends to be behaviour which is associated with protecting myself as an individual. So neurologically, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in teamwork. Teamwork is not just some vague concept. If you measure people's neural activity, you can identify when they are in team mode versus self-preservation mode. It's a very important point. So the next video, we raise the question of whether teamwork matters. What is the research evidence to show the difference between teamwork or acting independently? Join us for video 4 in this sequence.